Now,
Landslide ni Modi.
landslide. And they were expecting what, 380, 390 seats for the ruling BJP party of Narendra Modi, who's, strongman populist, similar to, all sorts of different people we know. And yet, ang nangyari is dumoble pa yung share ng opposition and hindi nag-majority itong BJP party. So they have to do it with their coalition partners. So the big winner, so ironically, loser pa rin yung opposition in the sense that it's unlikely they'll take over government anytime soon. But the big winner is
The
Rahul Gandhi.
Congress Party. Wow.
Congress Party led by the Nehru Gandhi family, and in this case, Rahul Gandhi. Now, I want to talk about Rahul Gandhi because ito, Ronald, you correct me if I'm wrong. Ang basa kay Rahul Gandhi, correct me in terms of the reference point I'm gonna use is, parang tingin sa kanya is, parang Marojas na mas konyotic pa sa akin. Kasi as you know, in the case of Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, yung mommy niya is Italian. Medyo guwapito to. Cambridge graduate, Harvard graduate, Tisoy, diba? There were even concerns if he has the right Indian accent kasi syempre educated in the US, half Italian, playboy, ganon. So that was the reputation of him. And last election, he did so bad. He didn't even win a seat dun sa kanilang stronghold. It's like an Aquino not winning in Tarlac and being beaten by DDS. I mean, it was just like total, But since last year, Rahul Gandhi went through this phase. So he walked through India. You can see the reference points you were making. Nag-tour siya all around. Nag-listening tour siya. Di ba? I think someone has been talking about this. Listening tour siya. He went from village to village, town to town, at nakaganan siya. Literally, the Indian way na humility, at saka tanggap niya yung kakulangan ng opposition. Tanggap niya na hindi... Kasi I've been listening to his speeches. Very self-reflective. Tanggap niya na nagkakulang sila sa opposition, that there are many things they have to fix. Hindi niya na-demonize yung mga voters na sabi niya, ba't kayo bumoto kay Modi? Ano lang yan? No. He just talked about importance of upholding the Constitution. And then interestingly, and I think this is where there's probably a kind of a playbook also for, not playbook, but an inspiration for Bam Aquino. Remember, the thing with Nehru Gandhi family is that yung lola niya, na-assassinate. Yung daddy also niya, if I'm not mistaken, na-assassinate. So he comes from a family of icons na politically assassinated. And in fact, that's why his family is one of the most protected families on earth. Ang laki ng security profile na. And yet, nagba-bicycle siya, cool dude siya, pilot siya, all of those things. So, first of all, Ronald, I'm sure you're also following India because I know you're very much into Europe. Siyempre, social ka. But I'm sure you're also following India because this is the biggest, most important democracy in Asia. As far as country similar to us is concerned. First of all, anong read mo dito na mukhang laking setback ito dun sa populist strongman momentum ng Modi administration? I would say Modi is 10 times more competent than Digong, and BJP is 1,000,000 times more competent than DDS people, more mobilized and all. So big deal itong relative success ng opposition, even though of course they're not gonna take over the government anytime soon. What is your understanding of this, Ronald?
Well, yung kanya kasing nationwide listening tour, no? Ay una, parang na-refresh sa mga tao yung kanyang ancestry na basically created modern India. So yung mga matatanda, no, ay medyo na-soften yung kanilang mga puso kahit yung mga hardliners. Tapos yung mga bata, ito pala yung nababasa nila sa mga libro na pinag-aaralan nila. So, na ganun. Tapos yung kanyang dating ay very humble. No? Very humble. Kahit na yung kanyang ancestry from Jawaharlal Nehru, yung tatay ni Nehru, hanggang dun sa anak niya, si Indira Gandhi, na pinatay ng mga bodyguards. Tapos dun sa anak ni Indira Gandhi na pinatay ng suicide bomber. So lahat yan parang naging perfect storm for him. Nakadagdag pa dyan yung economic situation ng India na in one aspect ay nag-i-improve by leaps and bounds, no? Yung form, yung shape, yung economic indicators. Pero lumalawak pa rin yung income gap lalong-lalo na sa usapin ng unemployment at saka inflation.
So very similar. Very similar to the Philippines.
So itong pala nito ay nagsalubong. Nagsalubong dun sa panahon na akala nila ay ito yung height ng power ni Modi. Nung panahon na yung India is now a global player as never before, 'di ba? Ang katapat niya is China, ang kadil niya sa Quad ay US, Japan, Australia. Tapos kahit saan siya pumunta ay pinapalakpakan siya, no, as a global leader. Pero yung kanyang populism, no, yung kanyang sectarianism ay unti-unti na palang, without knowing it, unti-unti na palang may cracks, no, within the population. At yung cracks na yan lalong lumaki dahil nga dun sa economic contradictions ng India. Being an economic powerhouse, pero at the same time, ang taas ng unemployment, ang taas ng pollution, ang taas ng inflation. So yung ganong contradictions ay nagpapatuloy. Kaya anong sabi nila? Kahit doon sa lugar na tinayo nila yung historic Ram Temple, di ba? Yung isang God King nila na naging very controversial dahil nandun winasak nila yung isang 16th century Muslim temple.
Mughal era mosque.
Oo, napaka-controversial noon. Doon nila kinuha niya na ang tingin nila ay makakadagdag doon sa political fortunes ni Modi. Hindi pala. Doon mismo, isa sa pinakamalaki siyang natalo, no? Doon sa lugar na yon, no? Kaya tingin ko positive itong nangyayari sa India dahil kung raragasa si Modi, tingin ko yung sectarianism, yung populism ay magiging negative para sa India in the long term. Dahil India is supposed to be a multi-religious, multi-ethnic,
multicultural,
very tolerant, very tolerant society, no? So at least itong nangyaring eleksyon ay parang ibinabalik uli ang India dun sa ganong klaseng positive aspect ng kanilang kasaysayan, yung positive aspect ng kanilang estado, no?
Right. I mean, Ronald, I think for people who have followed India very closely, I mean, obviously one of the reasons Digong came out to me not a very original, because I was really confounded and at the same time fascinated by the rise of Modi. I mean, obviously I knew the dark side, the Gujarat pogroms or accusations that he had something to do with it or not did enough, not doing enough. And then, of course, his rise to the presidency in 2014. So I've been following this for quite some time over the past decade. And for me, Modi represents the gold standard of strongman populism. And I don't mean gold standard in terms of like, it's a good thing. I'm just saying, siya yung pinaka-developed version of strongman populism. And again, this is very relevant because every study I've seen says, pagdating sa disinformation and using hate and using those things, ibang klaseng machinery nila Modi. So, whatever the opposition wants to say here about disinformation, next level ang India, I'm telling you. Because, of course, one thing that we don't have is mas diverse sila. There's the caste system. There are many things going on there. More multi-religious pa sila. And the size, just 1.4, 1.5 billion people. So I think that's why it's important to realize gaano kalaki itong success ng opposition. Because against all odds, including the fact na nafi-freeze yung account ng opposition, I don't think that happened in the Philippines. Na fini-freeze ba yung bank account sila, pinapaalis sila, nagsasampa ng...
Tinatanggal sa Kongreso.
Yeah, no? Man. Including si Rahul Gandhi, di ba?
Diba?
So if you look at the odds that the opposition was facing in India, way higher dun sa opposition sa Pilipinas among others. And yung organizational capacity and disinformation machine nung kalaban nila is way more sophisticated than anything that Duterte and BBM or Unity whatever could put together. So that's why for me mahalaga na pag-aralan ng India because grabe yung odds against the opposition and yet
definitely
they double. Yeah. Now I want to focus on two things. No, one is this is what you and I have been saying, yung listening tour, how important it is. So please listen to us when you say listening tour because it worked in the case of India. Yung kumbaba ka, you really go on the ground, people have to see you. But the important there also, Ronald, is he reached out to the, kasi pansin mo, yung mga pinaka-big fans ni Modi are yung mga middle class, yung mga urban, minsan yung mga na-expat pa. But actually in the rural area, yung mga poorest of the poor in India, marami sa kanila, they see the inequality, they see problems. So actually, Rahul Gandhi reached out to those people. He went to the poorest of poor Indians, to the farmers, to the rural area, to the old, to the young, everyone, and talked to them. And third and most importantly, yung para atin yung sinasabi, ang pinag-usapan dito ay hindi ako versus Modi. Ang pinag-usapan dito is the essence of our democracy as a secular, what you were saying, multicultural. So kaya nung after elections, halos hinalik-halikan niya lang yung constitution. I mean, you can see the sincerity and commitment, his willingness to go all the way. And I think that's how, I mean, I think in a free situation, who knows, maybe Congress Party would have 4 times more seats. But against all of those odds, doubling their seats in the parliament and being the main opposition party, I think that was a very, very big deal. So, Ronald, now let's go to the middle of the discussion. Are there direct lessons for the opposition? And the closest I can see parallel to Gandhi's is Aquino's, right? Let's talk about that. Let's spell it out.
Well, kahit ibang-iba naman talaga yung history ng India, it's several thousand years history nila, no? It's one of the oldest civilizations in the world, no? Yung India na yan. In spite nung differences ng ating history, ng nature ng estado, ay meron kang pwedeng kunin ng mga parallelisms eh. Makikita mo sa India, katulad na nakikita mo sa Pilipinas, yung pagsabay at pagbungguan, pero at the same time pag-complement ng isang pre-modern society, isang modern society, at isang post-modern society. No? Pre-modern, dahil kitang-kita mo yung mga ills ng kanilang kasaysayan. Diba? Kitang-kita mo sa India yan. Katulad sa atin, sa kanila meron pang case system hanggang ngayon. Diba? Meron pang mga sobrang laki ng superstition at the same time modern technology sa kanilang bansa. Sa atin makikita ka ng mga warlords, makikita ka ng extrajudicial killings, nakakita ka pa rin ng mga rise ng mga dictators at saka authoritarian leaders, no, etc., etc., no. Kaya nandun yung pre-modern coexisting with a modern society. Yung mga ibang mga NGO sa India, ang tawag nila sa sarili nila social democratic. Dahil nandun yung contours, nandun yung shape ng isang modern democracy, 'di ba? It's called the biggest democracy in the world, no? Ilang 100 million yung bumoto, 700 million yung bumoto sa election na ito. So nandun
In 6
yung
rounds or something.
nandun yung mga institutions of modernity, modern institutions. Nandoon, no? Bureaucracy. Marami kang criticism sa British colonialism, pero magagaling sila kumpara sa mga Amerikano in terms of building a bureaucracy.
Yung
Ang
Raj,
Amerikano magagaling sa kanya magagaling sa gera Pero winning the peace, medyo mahina sila, di ba? So yan yung modernity. Tayo rin ganyan We're the first democracy in this part of the world, di ba? In the Asia Pacific, in Southeast Asia. Nandun sa atin yung shape of modernity, no? A constitution, civil liberties, no? Separation of church and state, nandun yung rule of law, etc., etc. So, pero nandun din kasabay niyan yung weaknesses ng mga institutions na yan. At panghuli, postmodernity, no? Makikita mo, isa tayo sa maraming oras, if not tayo yung pinakamaraming oras sa internet. Tayo yung pinakamaraming oras sa TikTok. Tayo pinakamaraming oras sa YouTube.
Indonesia number 2. So isa pa yung sana similar sa atin.
Diba? So, nung unang tumakbo si Modi, pinag-aralan ko yung kanyang campaign Nagulat ako Dahil si Modi kasi isang mahirap na tao yan Nagbebenta yan ng tubig sa mga bus
Diba? Yung dad niya.
Pwede ka sakay sa bus, nasa labas yung mga bata nagbebenta. Ganun si Modi. Ganun si Modi, no? Pero yung kanyang campaign is very, very postmodern. Pero mo ang ginamit niyang kampanya, hologram. Dahil hindi mo mapuntahan ng India dahil it's bigger than China in terms of population at malaki yung bansa with extremes of climate, di ba? Extremes of geography, no? Ang hirap
Language,
puntahan, no? In
diversity.
one campaign period. Ang ginawa ni Modi, bumili sila ng mga hologram at sa mga hologram na yan, sa mga communities, sa mga mahihirap na mga lugar, ay lumalabas yung kanyang hologram, speaking yung kanyang campaign message, no? So, what can be more postmodern than that? So,